Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. This week we're going to have a little bit of a look at our trip out to Quirindi out near Tamworth. Went out there to catch up with some family and had a little bit of an explore. We didn't take the patrol though. We took the little Isuzu, which is just behind us. Isuzu MUX. So me and the kids took off for a long weekend. Following that, I've added a little bit of an extension I've done to the dual battery setup. So that's the second battery that sits in the back of the car, and that goes with the iTech BC DC charger. So hang around and check that out as well. Hope you enjoy, guys. And don't forget, we're getting awfully close to JLW. So go and check out the JLW page on Facebook and find out all the information. Hopefully it's going to stop raining a little bit so the tracks aren't too wet. Anyway guys, hope you enjoy and we'll catch you next week. In here.
Oh yeah.
Well guys, I've been playing a bit today. I haven't recorded much, but this here is my old battery position right behind the fridge, which I haven't got strapped in. I've just got it all in and out because I'm playing with it. But it's worked. It's worked for a few years. The battery just sits there behind the rear seat, which is all folded up at the moment. But I decided I'm going to build a bit of a box around it, mainly so I can mount my DC charger on it, and also some USB ports and also voltage gauge. So I've been working on that, so let's have a look. So I'm just building it out of ply. There's a bit of a box, but what I've built so far is this here. So it will attach to that steel frame, and I've got the spot there for 4 round attachments. We're going to have a volt gauge, probably a ciggy lighter, and probably a couple of USB points, which should give me 4 USB spots. The DC I'm going to mount here, so it'll be pointing straight up, all the controls on top, wires down, and then we've got a hole around this side for all the power cables to go into, and this will butt up against the fridge. So just going to whack a bit of paint on it and see how it goes. That's a little project I've been playing with, so yeah, just cutting a few bits, a little brace in there. This is the lid, so it doesn't quite come right to the fridge. It'll leave a bit of a gap, but should be able to still use it, and it goes past this side, goes right over to the edge, something like that. I'll give you a bit of a look what it looks like in the car before we paint. So it'll look a little bit like that, sitting in behind the rear seat, and it's got that wall going back towards it, so you can stack stuff up against that, and it's not going to be in on your battery or your wiring. Looks like I might have to take the corner off the back of that, give a bit more room for the fridge handle. And yeah, it's still got a gap along here. I haven't got sides in there, so eventually when I put the sides back in and I finish off the gull wing, we'll probably continue it. I'm thinking of putting a shelf in here and boxing this into the window, and then I can have some more charging ports up in the gull wing and access in there. Don't know what else I could put in there, maybe a little oven. But yeah, that's the idea, and the lid like that, just to give it a bit of coverage so nothing's dropping on the battery. There's a bit of room for wires in behind there. Yeah, so that's a little project I've been playing with. We're going to head our way to Quirindi for probably a week, me and the kids. Yeah, hopefully we're going to go and do a bit of camping out there at one of the lakes or dams, I'm not sure. But that's the plan, depending on weather obviously. But yeah, we're going to go for a run out there. She's all painted. Had some blue laying around. I think it's from the caravan. So we painted her up. I've just screwed the actual battery tray holder in, and then we're going to mount up this circuit breaker for the DC. We'll mount that up, and then we've got the a volt gauge, a cigarette plug, and 4 USB ports. There we have it, guys. All mounted up, screwed on the ando plug, so solar input just goes in there. We got the main power from the battery. I'll have to run that underneath the carpet one of these days. I'll pull all the bits out and pull the carpet out. Gonna have to do that anyway. And we've mounted that ando on that side, which is power back into the battery. And then in behind we just got one ando coming off for the fridge. That's wiring for that DC to DC, but I don't use that. That's for the smart chargers. Got the circuit breaker up in there and the back of the things, and it's all fused, and power running down to this little fuse block here as well. Got another little fuse block, got 2 spares eventually we can use. One is the rear spotlight, which is activated off a switch or is activated off the reverse lights when you put it in reverse. And the other one is a little camp light, which I've had sitting up there for ages. Lid mounted. It's a bit wide, but I've got to work out eventually where the trims will come to. And I'll put all that back on and I can cut it off. I thought I'd go wide, and I'll build an infill one day to fill this. So yeah, that's the box. So there it is, guys. all installed. The battery is in behind here. There's still a bit of a gap. Some tidying up needs to be done. I did this cable just a smidgen too short, but it'll be alright there. For some reason the iTech doesn't pick up low amperage on the solar panel, whereas if I go through this old, it's underneath here, if I go through that old MPPT, whatever it is, solar regulator, it seems to pick up the low amperage. So at the moment, what are we putting in? 1.7 amps is coming into it, whereas the iTech world just doesn't like it. It wants at least 2 amps before it starts working. Just clicks in and out, and the battery wasn't going up, whereas plug that fella in and 10 minutes later, and it's not that sunny a day, it's a bit overcast with constant showers, but 10 minutes later this one's kicked in and the battery's up to 12.7 now. Obviously the fridge isn't cycling at the moment, but the fridge is all strapped down. I have whacked in my toolbox just in there just to get it out of the way. I'll probably stick a couple of little bits up on top here, like my first aid kit. It's a good little spot for the first aid kit. That corner is a bit dodgy. It wouldn't take too much weight, but it wouldn't take too much to put a brace up here as well to support that end of it, because at the moment it's got no support. It's just screwed here, here, and on that side there, and it's got a cross piece there to brace it, so it's pretty solid there. And it is just screwed to that base down the bottom. So that's the project, and it works. Well, welcome to the channel, guys. Let's see how we go.